Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind today. Hold on. What happened? Child was in here and messed with my volume because that was freaking loud. Something's wrong. Something's very wrong because the sound that is coming out there to you guys is probably like destroying your ears. What's with that? Is Spotify screwed up here? There we go. Volume just wasn't set on Spotify correctly. Anyways, sorry I'm late. Having a weird day. I don't know. I think my chemicals are off a little bit. Had a hard time falling asleep last night. It was okay going, but you know, it was slow, and then lots of snot coming out of me. Lots of snot coming out of me. So, let's go to the charts. First thing, you can see the treasuries there sloping down. That ADP ADP employment number was pretty good. 145 versus 125, 143 versus 125. So, you know, that's why markets are moving the way. Remember, we got non-farms on Friday, so. Let's go to the higher level charts. Okay, so this is all within the context of the markets going absolutely bonkers yesterday because Iran shot some more missiles at Israel. Israel said that they would retaliate. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. It's kind of like, is this that big of a deal? I don't know. Because it's kind of like it's always been like it dies down and it's not a big deal until it actually really becomes a big deal, right? S&P 500 down off of that, you know, and so kind of back into the range, kind of a little bit of a gut punch back into the range. Oil, some risk premium coming back into oil, and I really feel like that oil could be $75 at some point, but who knows when. Gold and silver doing okay throughout this. Kappa kind of recovering a little bit. Again, the stimulus in China, a really huge narrative in the market this week, and the Japanese yen actually looking a little bit I mean, look, it's okay like level wise, but the trajectory and slope of that is a little bit concerning to me. 101.6 is where the dollar is at, and Bitcoin heading back towards that 60K, but as of yet nothing big, but it did sell off during all of that craziness yesterday. So that puts us in an interesting spot because I don't think we have a whole lot of other major news today, right? Let's see here. ADP, Hammock, Musalam. I don't know them, but Fed speakers and EIA, and that's about it today. So it's actually a little bit light on the news for a Wednesday, except for the ADP, of course. You know, the stuff that we're getting so far kind of suggests that the labor market is going well again. And let me come back in here and check our Discord, and we go into all of these okay, non-farms. Where is it? Non-farms. They are expecting 144 versus a previous of 142. And if ADP was 143 on its own, how are you going to house the mainline one going to be 144? Cactus Novo, do you trade in prop firm? Nope. I think that generally speaking, those are a waste of your money. If you're really serious about trading, fund your own account. Just fund a tiny account, trade tiny size. You can trade that for years and years and years, and that will be cheaper for you than going through a combine every month. Morning, Uzi. Good morning, Octavius. Well, I feel like because it's a Wednesday and because we've had all of this movement and everything, we should get some strong flows here today. But it's just like when I kind of go down. We don't need, that's the wrong one. Those are my jobs notes. Notes. Today. Okay, so we had ADP hot. Let's see here. How big of a deal are these Fed speakers? Hammock due to deliver opening remarks at the Minorities in Banking Forum. And Musalam due to deliver opening remarks at the Community Banking Research Conference hosted by the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Well, those are later in the session. So let's just come back over here, say Fed speakers late in the session. Middle East tensions, vice president debate, Wednesday. Flows tend to be bigger. Or let's say more busy. Because by bigger, that might suggest that like the individual flows themselves are bigger. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying lots of people do stuff on Wednesdays. What is the secret to success? The secret to success in day trading is realizing that there is no secret to success in day trading. That it's a competitive market that is constantly evolving, and you have to constantly evolve with it. And if you are, understand the market and what's going on in the world better than the other participants, then you do well. And if you don't understand the market very well relative to the other participants, you're not going to do well. And trying to chase all of these secret formulas that are going to make you a millionaire is a pointless venture, because that's not really the way that the market works. And you've been afflicted by a cargo cult. You heard some stuff from some profitable traders that were doing something completely different, weren't day traders, and you didn't really understand it, and now you're trying to apply it by copying what you saw them do, but you didn't really understand what they're doing. Just like all of these tribes in the Pacific that think that if they march around the island and create effigies of satellite of radio dishes and things like that, that the U.S. government will send them cargo packages. When it was because there was a war going on that cargo packages landed on that island, and it had nothing to do with the rituals that the soldiers on the island were doing. I want to be the new fun. Well, listen, Cactus, here's how you do that. Start an account. I'll give you 2 ways to do it. Okay? The first way to do it is you take an account and just do everything stupid that people tell you not to do. Like if you're down on a position, add more. Trade size that's too big. Trade through volatile news events. And you will catch a winner that's large enough to potentially, take you to funding. You'll probably lose the account immediately after that. But the degenerate gambler way has a higher probability of getting you to a funded trader. The second thing that you can do is you can just come in and set an amount. I want to beat it in a month. Trade the size that would divide the month by a certain amount and double it. because half your trades are going to be losers, right? And, you know, just figure out how much you need to make every day to pass the combine, and then take one trade that is going to be that amount, win or lose, and just pick it at random. And if your trades are truly random, you have a 33% chance of passing the combine. You just do one trade a day. You do one trade a day. That way, you're not going to break the limit down rules and all of those sorts of things, right? The only thing that's going to kill you is the drawdown limit. And there's about a 33% chance just randomly that you'll pass it. That's what our Monte Carlo tests show. So the question you should be asking yourself right now is, if I can actually do it with a 1 in 3 chance, is it really that worthy of a goal for me? Now, if you want to do something hard, here's something hard. Have a profitable year every year for 5 years. Hard. Haven't met a retail trader that's done that. Did you trade? I think I used Earn to Trade. I think I did. I don't know if it was Earn to Trade or Apex. Maybe I've used both of those. And I think I've done Top Step. Top Step is the one that I feel is the most trustworthy. Well, I'm pontificating, the treasury market continues to sell here, even though the flows do not look all of that directional. But the Japanese yen is moving down, and that seems to be dragging them with it. I'm not seeing too much movement in the yield curve yet, but there is some evidence earlier in the session of steepening. I've done that with my stock portfolio, but that's the way you're supposed to do it as a retail trader. Yeah. Well, because in the stock, there's not this chance that you don't have this leverage, and this, a certain amount decline will blow the account and prevent you from being able to trade anymore, right? Options, maybe a little bit different. What do you think of a Tory trader? Never heard of him. Never heard of him. And I hesitate to even look them up because they're probably somebody that doesn't deserve exposure. Does anybody in the trading space truly? No. This is that person that I know. No. No, I do know this person, dude. This is that influencer that was like, oh, everybody's saying I'm a poser, but like I made X $1,000 on one trade. And I'm like, if you are really a trader, you would know that no trader will give a shit about that. About what was your single largest trade. None of us give a shit. A trader that really knows what's going on understands the long-term game that you have to play here, right? Can you be profitable 5 years in a row? That's like the minimum standard in the industry. You're going to tell us about one trade? Maybe you are. I mean, I've never watched them other than I saw that on TikTok. But like, come on, man. That's how you know that they're BSing you. That's how you know he's... Well, here's the thing, Uzi. Here's the thing. Assuming, I think he's spelling it wrong, but we're talking about a hot girl. Okay. Like that. So the context that you're missing here, when I've been telling this because I avoided bringing up that fact, the context that you're getting here is that she's saying, oh, everybody says I'm a poser because I'm a girl. And ergo, I'm going to tell them, well, I'm not a poser because I'm trading real money and I've had really big trades. And I'm saying, no, The reason that everybody says you're a poser isn't because you're a girl. It's because you're putting up individual trades as evidence of your trading prowess, when any experienced trader knows that that's bullshit. That long-term performance is what really matters, and that anybody can gamble in there and get lucky a few times. I don't know, and more so than that, it's kind of like, okay, do they talk about empirical properties of markets? Do they have research that you're sharing to their viewers that, is proven and backed up by facts, by studies, by hard data? Or are they another one of those people on the internet that they give their colloquial wisdom that they've gained through 1 year's worth of trading, and they're going to share it to the world now, right? Probably, that's the way everybody on YouTube is, man. Yep. Absolute best path for a retail trader is to ignore the internet influence sphere, just learn your platform, have money. Yep. Like straight up, the incentives of the social media world basically work against you if you're trying to learn how to trade. You listening, Cactos? Just watch my channel, of course, because I have empirical information. But you notice I'm not like a super popular channel, right? You know why? Because the stuff that's actually going to help you is boring. Boring AF. We're talking about reading, journal articles with all of this data, like college level reading, really, really dry stuff. Like if you thought that high school algebra was boring, this is that like on steroids, right? That doesn't play well on YouTube. It doesn't. What plays well on YouTube? I made so much money, guys. Come and look. Right? If when you're trying to prove that, like, hey, you should listen to me. I know what I'm doing. I'm a good trader. I have credentials or whatever. The first thing that you bring up is, well, I had this big trade one time. That means that you're just like every other idiot on YouTube, and you're pushing the I made the most money, and that's what's going to bring viewers, and not actually that you have any clue what you're talking about. No offense to that creator we're talking about. It's like, I don't really know them beyond that, and chances are that they're probably well-meaning, right? If trading is exciting, you're doing it wrong. Well, I mean, look, when you're taking a trade during news, like if you traded yesterday, right, during that whole Israel thing, I feel like that we got apprised of it a little bit too late. But there's a possibility that one of you that might have slightly better sources and things like that you might have been in on it early, right, and you could trade it, and that's going to be exciting. That's going to be exciting. But the process of like learning is not exciting, is it? The process of learning these things about the market that actually matter are not exciting. And that's kind of the whole thing, is that retail traders all get attracted to the shiny object over here instead of going and doing the real research. Because the thing is that there's this thing over here that says, look, I'm going to make you rich. And then there's this other thing over here that's like, yeah, markets are really random and kind of difficult, right? So that's not too exciting. That's kind of like, maybe I shouldn't day trade, right? like straight up, anybody in the actual financial industry that works with markets, these people at hedge funds or at the big banks or whatever it is, right, that are actually like really trading for a living, they will all tell you, almost every single one of them without question, would probably discourage you from day trading as a retail trader. I remember when I talked to traders and the first thing they said was like, well, I know one or two guys that left here and they had some success on their own, but that was probably out of like 20 that I've known that traded here and thought they could do it on their own and then failed. Trading as a retail trader is really, really hard. And the things that those guys at those big institutions do to make money don't work for us. Because the reality is those guys are just making money off of people having to do business. Who will say the direction of the market are the market makers, right? I once heard this from a high income trade. Well, okay, so I read this interesting study yesterday, and it didn't really give me what I wanted, though. It really didn't. It was a disappointing study to read, but it was also extremely interesting. I think it's totally worth reading. If you go into Discord, into the free Discord, there's a paid Discord and a free Discord now. The paid Discord is only $3, and that's mostly to get away from the spam. But if you, I posted it in the free Discord. It's a study. They have all transactions with like who was submitting the transaction labeled for the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. For like their index futures, like their Eurex futures. So that's an insane data set. That is everything. That is everything that there is to know about that market during that like 4-month period, or actually I think it was like 6-week period. That's crazy. That's crazy data. And what they do in the study is they try to figure out, how do the institutions actually trade? Like what are some general properties about their strategies that we can maybe determine? Like, do they use market orders or limit orders? Are they liquidity providers or liquidity takers? Those sorts of things, right? And one of the things that I saw was like what determines direction. So I'm like, oh, this could be good. Something that gives us an idea of like what the bias for the day would be, right? But what they were looking at was like a very, very short time frame. They were like, okay, what determines what the next tick is going to be? The number one thing that determined what the next tick was going to be was the imbalance between the best limit offer and best limit bid. So you can see right now, there's 681 at 09.5, and there's 4,000 at 09. That means that there's like a 90% chance that the next trade is going to be a tick up. And that's as far as they were going. I was hoping that direction was going to be like on a 30-minute basis, yada, 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 but they weren't going into that deep. That said, there was still a lot of interesting information that kind of gives you a good idea about how different types of players move. One thing that was in there that was really interesting was that the second most predictive thing about what the direction would be was the market maker's own inventory. So if their inventory was that they had inventory long, then their next trade was likely to be short. Because the market makers want to limit how much inventory they take on as much as possible. So that's also kind of like, I don't know if that really helps. No, market makers need to manipulate the market to capture liquidity? No, they are the liquidity. They are the liquidity. So they don't want to necessarily like move the market in one way and trick everybody into getting into it and then doing it. They don't have to do that. They just make the market random and people will do that on their own. All they got to do is just provide liquidity, and it's literally like you put a limit order at every price and you put every bid price and a limit order at every offer price, and you just make sure that you're at the front of the queue and you take the fills. And it's that simple, man. That's what those market makers are doing. And then they have all of these things they add on top of that, like looking at correlated assets, those sorts of things. But they don't have to move things. Like yeah, if they have inventory and they're long, they want it to move up. So what are they going to do? They're going to let those offers kind of be weak and let it come up so that they can take a profit. Yes, they do that. But that's just them like not putting orders at a certain spot, right? That's it. If that's what tricks you into a trade, then your fault, right? What some people talk about is this whole theory that like, oh, there's a new low down here, and so what these guys will want to do is shove it down through here, and so that people will start selling, and then they will get filled long, and eventually they'll then flip it around, and when they flip it around, all of those guys will get stopped out and everything, right? The reason that retail traders believe these kinds of things, first of all, it's kind of comforting to think that like it's all a giant scam, that it's all a giant trick to trick you into doing something stupid, rather than just it's random and you're gonna lose when it's random. But it doesn't really make sense when you understand the way that markets work, because if I buy a lot of something, it's going to generally move it up. If I sell something, it's generally going to move it down. Now, how much it moves up or down is dependent on a couple of factors, but the primary factor is going to be how much liquidity is out there. So if I try and push it down by selling, it's going to take a lot of orders to do that, because I have to push through all of this liquidity. Then when I turn around and I buy, because it's just gone through an area that we just traded, it's going to take less. My impact is going to be stronger when I start buying, because I'm going to be going through an area that we already traded. So the net result in that is, if I sell a large amount and then I turn around and immediately buy an equal amount, the market is going to move more on the second leg and I will lose money. So the whole idea that you can kind of like touch off something purposely to like reverse it, that can work. But in order for that to work, other people are going to have to like really come in and start trading big size down into those lows. So it's a very, very risky trade. And it's not really the way that the institutions work. They don't want to mess with that kind of stuff. It's too risky for them. What you will see though is, if there's a big guy and he wants to sell, guess what? In order for him to sell the amount that he needs to sell, he's probably going to push through that, and maybe we go down to 08. Now, the mistake that these price action smart money concept traders make is that they think, okay, so then the pattern is it's going to come back up and it's going to reverse, and they're going for the reversal every time, right? And really all they're capturing in that is that markets are fairly mean reverting on a short-term basis, right? But this guy, if he needs to sell, he'll just keep selling until he gets as much as he needs, and who knows how far that's going to go. If you don't know why that guy is selling and how much he's going to sell, you really have no clue how far it's going to go. And while you might make a little bit on it reverting back up here, right, you're going to lose a ton when it just keeps going. So it's not really a profitable trade. So Smart Money Concepts was kind of originated by this other guy on YouTube that has a really big channel, but is basically a complete fraud. And he promoted a strategy that they called the silver bullet. And I have a video, if you go back on my channel, it's like 2 videos back, where I back test that strategy. And the code is out there, so you can go and look at the code even. And what you will see is that when that YouTube channel was first kind of starting to get popular, the strategy did okay. But then at some point, the channel became massively popular. Like YouTube was pushing it, the algorithm was pushing it for some reason, and he got tons of subscribers all in one day. Like one video just took off, right? And from that point forward, the strategy fails almost every time. So the performance that they were getting was purely a function of how popular they were getting. So a little bit popular kind of helps you. Too much popular destroys the strat. As clear me, I confess that I'll learn a lot. Well, thank you. This isn't the first time that you've been here, has it? I don't think it is. For those with little capital, do you think prop firms would be the fastest way to increase their assets? Well, okay, so if you do a prop firm and you're like doing degenerate gambler sorts of things, you could probably pull a few $1,000s out of the market. I have heard of stories of people that made really large amounts through combines even. But it's not really an effective long-term sort of a thing. So like the real question that we got to ask here is like, what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish, right? So if your goal here is, I don't have as much money as I would like, maybe because I feel like I have a stagnant career that doesn't pay very well, and so I want to increase my net income every month, don't day trade. Seriously. Don't day trade. Day trading is the worst way that you can possibly try and build wealth. It's great if you already have wealth. Okay, I'm between jobs right now, but I when I'm employed, the amount that I'm making is like almost double what I need to live. And I have pretty low, like my house is below 30% of, actually below 25% of my monthly income. So I have a lot of excess capital to deploy. Now, right now, I'm putting that mostly into stocks because I want to build that up. Okay, but then once you really got a big portfolio and you're really, maybe you're already almost a millionaire, you can come in and you can take big trades with futures and make big amounts and be really successful. Like the thing is that when you get to the point where you can hold multiple contracts over several days or months, that's where trading in futures can really make you large sums of money. So trading is a really great wealth enhancer. It is not a good wealth builder. You kind of already need to be rich to really, really play. Because basically, like the way that it works in a lot of instances is the guy with the biggest wad wins. Yep. That's actually kind of the best part about big trading influencers is they bring in retail money, teaching them strategies that get arbitrage out of the market and transfers their capital to institutions. Yep. That's because you can take trading futures and investing. Well, I would consider it swing trading futures, not day trading futures, right? I guess that's really the problem. At the end of the day, the problem is that all of the day trading strategies are dominated by the robots, and most of us aren't really very competitive there. That's why, I push, you want to have some sort of informational advantage, something that the algorithms don't know. And if you don't have that, it's kind of like not worth trading at that time. But I guess to some extent, you can consider a swing strategy like an investment too. So, I don't know. Now, if you're poor and you're looking for a way to enhance your wealth, go and learn to code. I tell you what. So, oh man, this is something that is a little bit rough. Okay, so like the things that I do for a living on a day-to-day basis, like the basics of doing them are not super complicated. Like a lot of what we will do is Terraform, which is just a kind of a markup language to describe infrastructure in the cloud. You say, I have this virtual machine here, and it has this network interface, and it has this disk drive, and here's all of the, and there's more complicated stuff, like there's a load balancing group, and all of that sort of infrastructure stuff, right? And it's just text. It's just text. You can learn it. You can take like the HashiCorp certification. I think if you gave it a month of dedicated effort, you could learn that and have the certification, right? And you would be able to do the mechanics of my job. I don't know what is with Spotify today, but the volume on it is like broken. Anyways, the reason that I get paid so much is because of all of the experience. So it's like, well, okay, like the mechanics of it is actually relatively simple, but like what's the best way to do it? What are things that can kind of lead to problems? How do we make it so that we can see what's going on and debug it? And then you're the guy that can debug it when something is wrong. You kind of collect all of the information that's going on in the organization and then use that, kind of pass it back down to help them. And that becomes extremely valuable. And so what I do for job becomes extremely valuable. But a regular person can come in and learn those basic skills. And with those basic skills, even if you were learning on your own, I think that you could probably get an entry-level job there somewhere. And then you just do that entry-level job for 5 to 10 years, and you probably could move into the same industry that I'm in. And then, because, at that point, it's just developing the experience and the credentials. I'll try to analyze according to my plans. Wow, okay. It's going pretty good. I had 2 things yesterday. I think they went well. I'm starting to get more people reach out to me. I've kind of moved on from the phase where I'm sending a lot of resumes out, partly because of kind of saturated the market, but also because I've got enough things in the pipeline now to keep me busy with that I don't need to spend all day submitting resumes. I probably will go back on some of these jobs that I thought were really good, but they just passed on the resume, and see if I can't tailor the resume to what they're looking for a little bit better first, and resubmit it. But in my past jobs, it was I would get contacted by a recruiter and they did everything, right? In the current market, the recruiters aren't so aggressive, but or there aren't as much out there. But I was speaking one with yesterday, and they had, I tell you what, well, there was this one job that really fit my experience really, really well. And they said that they were having a very hard time filling that role. That they need that role filled like imminently, and they've been trying to fill it for like 2 months or something like that. I was like, wow. Now, I think it's a jump up in seniority, so that's, I don't know. I think I can do it. I mean, I think I have enough experience in organizations now that I could do just about anything, right? But we'll see how that goes. But there's another one that I'm actually kind of more interested in because it's more cybersecurity stuff, and a younger company. That's one that, like, you get equity with and everything else like that, and the company does well. You could very easily become a multimillionaire, right? So I'm kind of interested in that. Yeah. I'm actually, who knows? Again, so I haven't gotten another job yet, right? I'm only just through, there's a possibility that one of these gives me an offer, and then that would be the fastest that I could have gotten a new job, right? But there's a possibility that it takes a few months, you know, and it's really rough. So, but with the way that things have been going so far, I'm pretty happy with myself. I feel like I've been pretty productive. I've gotten a lot done, and it didn't faze me in the least bit. Had one day of kind of being a little bit unhappy about how it all went down and everything. There's some things about that the company that I was working for that I'm a little unhappy about, but I was kind of a little bit unhappy with the organization as a whole. Like, I was kind of sitting there being like, I think I'll stay around here long enough that it looks okay on the resume and then go, because I don't think that this is it. What? So I just use LinkedIn, Angel. You're in DevOps? Dude, it's I tell you what, the whole thing with DevOps and everything is super interesting, because like there's one level of DevOps that is like, you're not a programmer and you're only doing IT stuff, and some of those people get paid pretty well, and some of those people don't get paid very well. And then as it kind of goes up, there kind of merges into what I do, which is site reliability engineering a little bit more and more. But site reliability engineering is fundamentally different from DevOps in many respects. And there's kind of this thing I've noticed in a lot of companies where the DevOps group has this tendency to want to try and take over or absorb the site reliability engineering group. And that's kind of what I think was happening at my last job, and I've decided that it's a bad thing. Because I don't know if the DevOps people really understand what you're doing, what the value of it is. I got some things accomplished there. I saved that company a lot of money. Doing things that like nobody else in the organization had figured out except for me, and had been problems for months and were costing them money, right? That's where it's valuable, right? Because it makes a direct impact on your bottom line. Just be honest, they replace you with ChatGPT. No. Dude, I saw this post the other day where this guy, he was using Claude, and he had basically written a wrapper around Claude so that whatever code Claude came up with, it would just execute it and it would do it. And he left it running, and Claude basically like set up the operating system, and then kind of got in and looked around and was like, oh, we need to update this package and this package. And it just kept doing things, and by the end of it, the machine wouldn't even boot. So that the AI, you know, broke the machine. They had to do a clean reinstall. Pretty funny. Ah, you live in Brazil. Well, I tell you what, man. Like here's the thing. You have a computer, right? You're using a computer. That puts you at a big advantage, right? You use the computer to learn like the programming and the infrastructure, like cloud infrastructure stuff, right? You can do that all on your own. Get an entry-level job at a company in Brazil. And man, because those are such low-cost centers for the places that do that, when they have those jobs over there, those people make so much relative to the country. It's insane. It's insane. So, one of the jobs that I was doing, they were, I think it was actually Guatemala that we were getting people from, but I can't completely remember. But like our product owner, the kind of the person that was looking through all of the tickets and making sure that all of the information was in them for us to do our job, and coordinating with other teams about what to do, and, you know, kind of being that clerical person, but also if they knew what they were doing and had that initiative kind of determine the direction that that product is going as well, right? So that source was outsourced to us, and man, they made so much for that area. It was insane. I don't know if you're serious, but almost 100%. My understanding is that the majority of people in the United States do use iPhones still. You have a degree? What are you doing, man? I've never worked in the field, especially since my English is horrible. It's been 5 years since oh my, man, you're dropping the ball, man. You gotta go and get a programming job and go for it, man. I tell you what, here's something. Oh, you're out on that? Okay. I'm kind of, you know, that second little leg lower was kind of interesting to me, but I'm still kind of looking at this like, I don't know what the flows are going to be to drive this, but it is a Wednesday, so like, and because there was some craziness yesterday, it could move. I'm not sure what it's going to do. I am a little bit worried about it coming back up here. Think with Bookmap channel got terminated. What? Oh wait, just is that like the official Bookmap channel? I wonder why they would get terminated. That's weird. I'm sure it's okay. I'm sure they'll be back. Okay, so here's something that bothers me about society, about the way that our society works. I really feel that a lot of companies pay you for your resume. Like, you know, when I go, like, look, part of it is that I am really, really good at picking up new things. Okay, I think that's kind of like a neurochemistry thing. I can go into something that I don't know anything about and become an expert in it really well, in a way that most people can't. And it's a weird thing to say like that, like I am better at this than most other people, because like, do you know most other people? Like what are the averages, right? But time and time again, I've been able to do things and come in and figure stuff out that other people could not. So I'm really good at that, and I feel confident in doing anything. And so when I come out there and I look at the job market, it's like, I could do any one of these jobs. I could literally, there's not a single one here that I don't think I could do. And, you know, maybe some of them where there's like really up in this, like if I was going to be like chief technical officer, there would be a lot of growing pains with that. There'd be a lot that I would have to learn, but I think I could pull it off. So when I'm out there looking at it and I'm like, well, okay, so why am I not doing that job? Well, because you have to have the right resume for them to hire you to do that, right? And so if you go to school and then right out of school you get hired by a major company, and I mean like a Google or a Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, maybe Adobe could probably fit in there, or like a big bank like I did, like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. That looks so good on a resume, right? And then you just, you know, you keep going through there, and you have a much easier time getting a job. Now, is it that the resume really does show that, like, you know, I'm a good find? Because I am a good find. Like, I do have skills and I can do things that other people can't do, I guess. So maybe it's just like, you know, I'm not aware of where I really am, and I'm more advanced than I realize. But sometimes I kind of feel like you're getting paid for the resume. Sometimes I'm kind of like, well, you know, like probably lots of people could do this job, but they just don't have the resume. They get passed over. Like, your past experience is such a huge bottleneck for getting certain jobs. It's really quite insane. Like, shouldn't it just be that, like, if you can drive the performance, if you can do the things, and you know, you just keep progressing as your skills go? Well, I mean, that happens to some extent, but like lots of people, you know, you can only move the needle so much, and there's lots of people that can do it, right? And so the end result is that we want to say that we're a meritocracy, but we're not a pure meritocracy, right? Like the reality is that like the meritocracy is like the one thing that we can kind of sit there and try to like actively do something about and push in the society. And then there's all of these kind of other factors that end up being just as big of a part of it, if not more, kind of out of pure necessity, you know? There's lots of people that can do the job, but how is the company going to know who those people are? The best heuristic that they have for who they should hire is that they were doing it elsewhere, right? That's what companies want the most, is they want people that are doing the same job at another company, using the same tools and doing all of those, doing all those things. It's really weird. So the whole point of that was Cactos. You've got to go into you just got to go and whatever you got to do to get that entry level job. Because you took on a very valuable skill and you're not using it. One that will make you hundreds times over more than day trading probably will. Yeah, you have a completely different. But I'm just telling you, man, less effective. So in order to make as much on a yearly basis through day trading as I make from my day job, I would probably need to have a $1 million account or more to consistently do that. It's really quite crazy. Now, like, could I come in and start a combine and like really start pulling some money in and like, you know, get lucky enough that I pull in $100,000 one year? Yeah, I could. But are you going to be able to pull that off every year for 15 years, which is as long as I've worked in the industry now, come 2025, because I entered the industry in 2010? No way. No way. So think about that. It's like you, as a software engineer, you can make more in 1 year than you probably ever would as a day trader. And then you can do that every year for like the rest of your active life until you retire. It's so much more effective, right? And then if you're really, really into trading like I am, now you have that excess capital to go in and take a real swing at trading and give yourself a real opportunity to really make a big splash with trading, because you actually have the size to do you know, effective things. A lack of capital really makes it hard. Let's see here, Octavius. Do you put a bid for a fill or kill or place a bid at the best bid? Wait, where are we talking? Oh, I think we're going back over here. I think I missed a little bit. Yeah, I did. Oh, they're asking Uzi how he submits his orders for, like buying the stocks. And a study that I was reading yesterday, it was kind of interesting because it kind of suggested there were some traders that were kind of like us, the informational traders, and there are people like that at the institutions as well, and they, by and large, would either use market orders or a bid at, you know, like if we're trying to if we're trying to buy, I'm going to put a limit bid at either 09 or 09.5. You know, just so that I don't catch the extra tick of slippage. I don't want to necessarily use a market order. But yeah, in other words, those informational traders were more aggressors in the market, liquidity takers, which I like was really, because I've always kind of hypothesized, hey, if you're trading on an informational edge, I think that it works better for you to use a market order. And that's just kind of my understanding of the market. That's what should make sense. Is you want to take it with the market order so that those market makers start to go, oh wait, hold on a second, something's going on, and they start pulling and it starts going your way. And the study, I think, kind of, you know, supported that idea. Man, see, if the market is your passion, Cactos, go and get real money first and then come back, right? Because I tell you what, you're working a real IT job, and you have all of this excess savings stacked up, and you can have an account that's like tens of thousands of dollars. You stand so much better of a chance at being able to do something with day trading, right? And what you can do is you can just trade teeny tiny accounts now until you get to that point later. And then when you get to that point, you actually know what to do with the money. Well, it doesn't look like the movement on the slow march down in the treasuries is abating, even though I'm still not getting a really clear sign of which directions the flows in the treasuries are going. The shorter end of the curve is starting to sell a little bit, but it's very brief. It's only been like the last 2 or 3 minutes. And and what we're seeing right now is probably just the open in action. The open for the S&P 500 looks pretty tight. Equity's taking a nice little, well, they did fall down a little bit. I guess they fell 10 points, right? I mean, they're kind of going down, and so I'm kind of thinking right now, though, that this is going to be like, we're going to test the downside, and then if it doesn't go, that you might get a really good rally. That's the way that often goes, right? This is something that I've always kind of noticed that I've thought is like a pattern, but I always go like, nah, can't be that simple. But maybe I should go and do some study about it. It kind of feels to me like that the markets like to go the wrong way first. Like you have the open. If the imbalance is long, they like to go short for a little bit first, and then they turn around. Yeah, it's like the bottom of a 5 to 6 day range. Exactly. So like, are there really huge sellers? Is it really gonna? Because if they were to break the bottom of that, then a good chance that this becomes like a strong trend day in the S&P 500, right? But like I'm looking at the market right now, it seems kind of quiet. The treasuries are on the downsell though, so that's kind of like the one caveat. But overall, right now, I'm kind of thinking like I don't really see this turning into a trend day. It's a little bit too quiet. I kind of think that they might try it and fizzle out, back off of it. But it's enough of a possibility we got to be like on our toes, like, because it could turn into it, right? Take the hero on the, well, I'm talking more ES. So I'm thinking maybe you buy 57.40. The treasuries I'm not so sure about, because first of all, it's possible for the S&P 500 to continue to buy back up, and the treasuries continue to sell. And in fact, the correlation between equities and treasuries has turned back negative as of late. So like if the S&P 500 did start doing really well, that might hurt the treasuries. That was a big iceberg at 08. Am I missing something here? Hold on. I'm just making sure there's not auctions today. There's not. Wow, through the 12 and then sliced right through the 07 half as well. So this is, again, now it's to the point where like I can see a pretty strong imbalance coming through. Like what? It's almost 20K now overall. So now I want to sell it now. It's probably already too late. I don't think that I tell you what, we keep talking about the hero trade, but like buying this sounds terrifying to me. Okay, so like here on a sim order, I'm willing to take 07 half to 08. But other than that, man. You were kidding, lol. I'm only gonna do this one for a tick, okay? With a sim order. So by the way, we haven't talked about this at all because Cactos came in and asked good questions, and so we want to make sure we help him as much as we can first. But we didn't talk about the debate last night. I didn't watch the debate last night. You know, if I had gotten filled at 07 half, it probably would have worked. Yeah, I didn't watch the debate last night because I was watching the kids. My wife was working, I was watching the kids. And I honestly kind of totally forgot about it. And then, like, I started reading everything about it afterwards, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this. It was civil and policy focused. Yeah, I noticed a lot of people saying that. But I also, some of the things that I read about it kind of made me go like, okay, so like, there was a point where both candidates had their microphones muted. That doesn't sound too civil. And then it really sounds like that the debate moderators tried to team up on Vance again. In fact, the thing that I was reading about, and I really want to see how this went out and like what the wording and the impression, like how it worked within the context of it. But I guess Vance said something and the moderators fact checked him. And then he said like, hey, in the rules, it said that you weren't going to do any of these live fact checks. So like the debate moderators set up rules and then broke their own rules. When I heard that, I was flabbergasted. Like, you're just going to kill debates. They keep doing that. He called it out live. Yes. Like on the stage, he said, you said you weren't going to fact check me. So that's where, because the lefties were portraying this as like whining, like, no, you said you weren't gonna fact check me though, and that was like a big gaffe, mistake sort of a thing. And the right were saying, yeah, like the moderators broke their own rules. Like he only did the debate if they follow certain rules, and then they went and they broke their rules. So like, how can you have any confidence that debates will be done in a fair manner after that? Like, it was already bad with what they did to Donald Trump, right? But this one with, that's like another level. That regardless of who the nominee is in 2028, there's going to be a real problem with, will debate be fair? Waltz looked like he was crying. He kind of did. Well, I would expect Waltz to not look very good up there on the stage next to Vance. You don't remember this whole thing when it was Richard Nixon against somebody else, and most people used to listen to it on the radio, and then it was on television. And the people that listened to it on the radio, one guy had a better voice, And so they kind of thought that he won. But then the people that watched it on television, they could actually see the way that they were holding themselves and everything. And they thought that the other guy won, and that was the one who actually ended up winning the election. Well, Vance has both advantages. He sounds better and he looks better than Walz. And I absolutely would have expected him, for that to play out. That was kind of a given. I was also kind of a given that Walz would make some mistakes. That there would be some little gaffes in there. So the gaffe that he made that I heard about was he said that he was friends with school shooters. That's a really bizarre gaffe, man. I tell you what, like, how do you end up saying that? That seems so bizarre. What was the context of that? I can't imagine what he was thinking. Was it like the end of the world? I don't know, but let's see here. What do we got here? They shake hands. Walz is, like the alpha male. Walz is terrified and cries on the ground. He meant school shooting victim. Okay. That's what I was saying is like there's got to be something in there that context where it makes sense what he was trying to say, because how do you say I'm friends with school shooters? It's just so dumb. But that's one that's like, it's such a stupid gaffe that it maybe doesn't matter. I feel like that there's kind of little bit things like that people try to make into a bigger thing that happen in like almost every debate. Where I see them, okay, so like Joe Biden's gaffe. Okay, the gaffe that Joe Biden made, where he was like, we got to defeat Medicare, and the other things that he said, and then like Donald Trump like immediately turned around and capitalized on it, right? So there's three things there. One is you actually make the gaffe. Two is the gaffe relevant to the issue that you something that is a problem for you. And then three is your opponent able to capitalize on it, right? And in Joe Biden's case, it was a devastating gaffe. It was an absolutely devastating gaffe. Yeah, we got to remember that Trump and Vance throw themselves into the lion's den every day. They're out there doing interviews in hostile territory and putting themselves out there. And the Walz is basically the complete opposite. So is Harris. When they do come out, everyone is friendly. They're never challenged. It makes perfect sense. They suck at debate. Yeah. So here's what I think on when you're picking your vice president. You want the warrior for your vice president. Okay. You either want a warrior or somebody that is well liked in a key swing state. Otherwise, you're wasting it. And Kamala Harris did neither. She could have picked Ben Shapiro, and that might have given her a much better chance of picking up Pennsylvania. Right now, Pennsylvania is still within the margin of error. But if she picked up Ben Shapiro, that might have been enough to swing Pennsylvania her way, and that would maybe be completely changing the dynamics of the race. Or you could have picked somebody that can actually go out there and do the PR, because right now, like, what are they going to do? They don't have a whole lot of opportunities left to try and shift the direction of this election. And right now, it's not in a good state for the Kamala Harris campaign, and it's going in the wrong direction for them. And because she picked a weak vice president candidate, there's nothing they can do, How much is income tax for traders in the United States? Short-term trades are taxed as regular income. Trump is nearly 80, so he's just an angry boomer about all the opposition, but Vance is 40. He can take it all day and he'll fire back, yeah. And he's sharp. He's unusually sharp. Like, I was seeing a lot of people saying, oh, wow, Vance isn't just doing okay. He's actually really good at this. He's actually maybe the best at this that I've ever seen. Yeah, he is. He is really good. So this brings me back to, there was this thread on Reddit. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's go back. Let's go back and see if we can find this thread. Hold on. I'm gonna go find this thread because I find this one amusing now in retrospect. Because, you know, like, obviously everybody tries to say that their candidate won and everything. I'm a Republican, so of course I'm gonna think that my candidate won. But I'd say it's pretty overwhelming evidence here that people think that Vance did better. It wasn't like an implosion. So, you know, I think that Kamala Harris is probably okay. Like, the impact on the election is probably fairly minimal, but does seem that everybody, the majority of people agree that JD Vance won the debate. Come on. Oh, this was further back than I thought I was. Come on, it wasn't that far back, was it? It couldn't have been more than a month ago, was it? Unless it, like, got deleted or something. Tax in Brazil is approaching 27%. Yeah. Well, if you were really making a ton, it could be up as high as 30%. But, you know, it's marginal tax rates and all that, so it's kind of... Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. The best indication we have of how this was 14 days ago. I wrote this. The best indication we have of how these candidates will do on the debate stage is how they have handled answering questions with the media this election season. JD Vance has been hitting the media circuit aggressively and is being praised by Republicans for his on-the-spot responses. Meanwhile, Waltz has stuck his foot in his mouth during the few opportunities he's been given to speak. For instance, accidentally calling Kamala Harris a prostitute instead of a prosecutor. It seems like both presidential candidates' biggest mistakes were who they chose as VP, but Vance is going to look good up there next to Waltz. What does Reddit think about my comment here? Literally nobody with ears could have misheard that as prostitute. He very obviously says prosecutor, and not even mainstream right-wing media is pretending he didn't talk about grasping at straws. Okay, well, it did happen. It's not the only instance that's been that Waltz has been terrible on the stump. He's just been terrible. He's not a good speaker. He's not. And you know, this is just the facts. You're not paying attention if you think that he's been good. Okay, even if you disagree with that, you know, well, you didn't say prostitute. Okay, whatever. I watched the video, it sounded like prostitute to me. I acknowledge that large parts of this thread are biased towards Waltz, but this is a head in the sand type comment. Waltz has the highest popularity of the four for a reason. He's been a very effective attack dog. He may not do well in the debate, but from polls and who I've talked to, those on the left are much happier with Waltz than those on the right are with Vance. Well, okay, he didn't win the debate. There were a lot of people on the right, though, that were unhappy with Vance. That's true. But I think that Vance pretty much proved all of those people wrong. I've seen a lot of people in the Republican subreddit saying, like, you know, I was against Vance as a pick, but now I see that he's the future of the Republican Party. So, there's these people talking about Waltz that, you know, not really relevant to the thread, but whether Waltz is more popular or not has nothing to do with how well they'll do in the debate, right? Here's somebody that agreed with me. I don't know what world you're living in. JD's latest species has fallen flat and is literally being made fun of as a couch effer. Laugh my ass off. Bro is literally a potential vice president and getting little bro to buy donut shop employees. This is what this guy said. Oh wow, Vance is being praised by Republicans. How shocking. No, they didn't fight me too hard on it. I tell you what though, like some of the people in this thread were super delusional. Super delusional. Sometimes I sit here and I'm like, I should like take names. All these people that ever said something kind of, you know, stupid to me. Like this guy, I don't know what world you're living in, yada yada yada. Okay, well, I was right. You were wrong. I should put you on the list so that when Donald Trump wins the election, I can go, So I tell you what, man. Of course, it's still super, super close. So I don't think that I should be saying like that I'm super confident that Donald Trump will win the election. I think to some extent it's probably unpredictable. But based on the things that we do have and that can be predictive, it really looks like it's going Donald Trump's way. The current polling looks good for him. The trajectory looks good for him. And all of the dynamics in the race that look good for him. I really have never seen a situation like this. I can remember when it was Mitt Romney. I can remember when it was John McCain. And I remember them struggling back and forth and so forth. But this one has literally been that absolutely everything has gone poorly for the Democrats this cycle. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. They're still in it, which is wild to me, right? So that again comes down to this part that's like, some of it is demographics and who comes out on election day, and I'm not sure we can predict that. But for the things that we can predict, everything's going Donald Trump's way. Meanwhile, on Reddit, all of these people are so absolutely certain that Kamala Harris is going to win. Like the just absolute insane confidence. Like here I am, I'm sitting here like, well, maybe it's unpredictable. So like, I'm not going to bet my life's savings on it. But the way that these people talk on Reddit, they would bet their life on it in an instant if they could. It's just insane. The amount of naive confidence that so many of these people have. And if Donald Trump wins, it is going to be, their world is just going to be shattered, man. Like, there was wailing and gnashing of teeth when Donald Trump got elected the first time. I think we all remember seeing that. And I think at least those of us on the right will remember the whole thing about Antifa throwing riots and so forth on the day that Trump got inaugurated, right? But if Trump wins this time around, the temper tantrum that the left is going to throw is going to be unreal. Just look at the way that the media has treated him this cycle. They really think that he is like not a legitimate candidate, is not worthy of their respect, and they're willing to completely undermine themselves as fair reporters and fair debate moderators to help the other team in a way that is just like absolutely crazy. And I had a lot of people saying that the debate moderators that you could feel the I'm better than you and you're not a legitimate candidate sort of a thing, like seething off of them, right? So, and they've fought hard against them, trying to, and making a big deal out of all of these legal challenges that are kind of actually all falling apart right now. What are those people going to do? The media. They are going to be so upset. It's going to be unreal. And I really hope, I honestly really hope that Donald Trump wins just so that I can see their reaction. The Simpsons have predicted that Kamala will become president. Okay, so I have a theory. I have a theory that The Simpsons does not predict the future. My theory is that The Simpsons influences the future. That certain things tend to happen because so many people watch that show and like the idea is implanted into their minds and everything. And so it kind of makes it happen. But with the thing about who will become president, I don't think that that's really going to affect anything. Have you ever been interested in trading equities? I think equities can be better in that they are not derivatives, but at the same time, the fragmentation can be a big turn. So why would them not being derivatives be better? So let's talk about this because this is a really good subject and this is something really good to talk about and understand. So what are some of the advantages of derivatives? In derivatives, you can go long or short whenever you want. With derivatives, you have better platforms, better execution, better information about what the limit orders are because you can see the whole limit order book and everything. Versus with stocks, you're mostly just getting the quotes from the prime brokers, right? And futures are also have a lot of decent intraday volatility and leverage. So you can make a lot with the derivatives. You can get really good, strong flows that provide regular edges with the derivatives, with certain futures at least. And you can trade them with very, very small account sizes. Like you can come in and you can day trade with $1,000 account, right? Okay, you can't do that in equities. So, and almost all of the advantages of derivatives are really kind of there because they're things about stocks that we don't like. You can't get the same leverage with stocks, for instance, right? But stocks have one really big major advantage, and that is that there's thousands of them. So if I'm coming in here and I'm trading the treasuries and I'm trading ZN today, and yeah, we had a little bit of a downside move, but it's been relatively quiet during our session and we don't really have a whole lot of flows to go off of. So I'm probably not I'm not taking any risk right now because I'm between jobs, and I think that taking risk at that time is probably a bad idea. But, there's not really many good opportunities for me today. So I'm very unlikely to take a trade today other than like screwing around, right? Well, in stocks, you don't have that problem because in stocks, you can always just say, what is the situation that seems to work for me the best, and just go and find a stock that's doing that day. That's a huge advantage for stocks. And so from a day trading perspective, it may well actually be the case that you're more likely to find some consistency in day trading, by trading stocks. You just, you kind of find the situation, whether it's gappers or whatever the deal is. And then there are some edges out there that, like if you take the stuff that you've learned over here in futures, like reading the order flow, and you get the order flow tools for stocks that most people don't have, and it hasn't really seemed to be arbitraged out of the market in the way that it has in the futures. Not to mention that there's the spreads are larger. Yeah, I think you could probably have a lot of success with stocks. There's just one big problem, and it's that one thing, which is that you have to have like a $20,000 account to even day trade with it to begin with. And you're going to have to like put more of your money at risk on individual trades to make the same amount that you would in futures. So you kind of, again, you have to already have money, and even more so in stocks than in treasuries. That is if you're going to day trade stocks. Now, if you're going to swing trade stocks or buy and hold, which is buy and hold is probably the real game that you want to play, completely different thing. And one of the directions that I want to take the VODs, the regular YouTube videos that I make, is pushing more doing buy and hold investing. Because I think that we have a moral obligation to put risk on individual companies, learn about individual companies, care about individual companies, because that's the way that a public company is supposed to work, is that they're owned by the shareholders, and the shareholders make decisions. And it's really not that way anymore. The index funds make all of the decisions. And I want to get people into investing in individual stocks. Yeah, you should still own the index, like in your retirement account. But then once you have money inside your retirement account, take the extra that you have beyond that and start investing in stocks and get good at investing in stocks. I want to encourage more people to do that, because that's kind of like my big problem, honestly. When I think about it, that's like, I don't know if this is the thing that's holding the channel back, but it's the thing that irks me the most, that I feel holds me back, which is I'm super interested in futures trading. I'm super interested in everything about the market, and I absolutely love it, but I cannot recommend that most people do it. You have to be like me. You have to be a kind of a technical person that really likes challenges, likes to get into deep mathematical stuff, is willing to take on risk without really any real reward coming from it, because you're just so interested and fascinated by the subject. And if you're not that person, then day trading is probably not for you. But investing, that's something that I can promote to everybody. That's something that's, hey, once you're putting some money into your 401k and some money into your IRA, you should put some money in individual stocks. Pick 5 stocks. That's something that everybody that is in that income bracket should be doing. We would be a better society if we did that. I want to push that. And then beyond that, it would be starting to talk about things like, okay, so what are some things that we can do? Okay, so that might have been that move right there. With the way that it moved, I'm not hearing anything from my news squawk yet. My guess is that that's probably more Middle East tensions. So let's take a gamble here. Too bad I'm not long from 07 half, where I initially tried to get filled. It never came back and filled me, did it? It's interesting. It pushed through there, and there was a big iceberg there too, as well. So that really kind of caught my attention. But that was like a big trade. That was a 3K, a 7K, and a 4K all at once there. That looks very much like risk headline stuff again. And if it is, we'd want to take it early. And if it doesn't go our way, we can bail on it quick. Oh, you posted it on Discord? Let me see. Was it? Oh, no, wait. You posted it in the new one. No, I don't see what you're talking about. Maybe you put it in main chat? Okay, well, they're rotating around 10.5 now. Second screenshot. No, what are you talking about? I just don't see you having posted anything anywhere. Not Brando was the last person to post something this morning. And then in the main channel here, and then when we go to the paid Discord. Oh wait, then I need to scroll down. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, so now they are starting to hit into that bid, and there is an iceberg there. So that's very encouraging, at least for my first tick, if I can get them to buy it here. Not really getting buyers yet, though. I'm always a little bit worried about, okay, like there's a large amount of trade that just happens all at once, you know, big block buy or whatever, because that tends to like make the market stop and not go anywhere. And that is kind of what's going on right now. But that was so particularly aggressive that I really want to make a play on that was some informed traders coming in and doing something. You know, if I can get a fill here on these two orders. Okay, that one was good. I should be in a pretty good position. I'm kind of tempted to try and take the one tick there again, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit because they surely would want to try and test that 10. It could have been endogenous, I guess. 14,000 contracts, though. Endogenous change, that's pretty wild. But it's not getting the follow-up, so... Could have been somebody... Well, and it was across the curve, too, so who knows what the 5 and the 10 were doing. Looks like whatever it was in the other instruments, it wasn't nearly as big as the ones that came through in the 10-year relative. I took the long because of the very aggressive large market orders that hit the market between 09 and 10.5. And because I'm bored. Am I that bored? Taking a short in gold? Does kind of look like gold could maybe turn around. I'm seeing here, by the way, Japanese yen shot up there and it's getting dragged down lower, so... So I was concerned about that. I'm willing to take another one at the bottom of that range where those market orders came in originally. Yep, here was the story. Predictable WNBA playoff ratings tank without Caitlin Clark. Yeah, well, not just that, but like the way that her season ended was by somebody like poking her in the eye. It seemed to affect her the rest of the game. People kind of feel like that she got cheated out of it, so they're going to doubly be like, oh, I'm not going to watch anything else then. Of course. By the way, I get hockey next week, don't I? Yes, sir. Let's see here. Tuesday, right? Yep, next Tuesday. Oh, I'm so excited. How do I get the kids so I have this problem where like Ethan, if what we're doing, what we're watching isn't what Ethan wants to watch at that moment, he tries and throws a fit. So it's like, okay, you want to watch music videos, put the music video list on, but then it's like, no, I want to watch a specific video within the music videos, and I can't tell you with words which of the 5 it is. Right? Two massive swings in Delta. Well, the S&P 500 seems to be buying. So far, remember I said like long 57.40? It looks like they took a really big dip against it. Like holding it 10 points, that's a little rough for me. So I think that would have been a trade that it would have stopped out of. But it did turn around and go higher. So I would say that overall on the flow on that one, I've been correct. That they weren't ready for a let's break the range of the week and trend day down sort of a thing. Big players are very I think so. Like the action has been relatively constrained with all of that in mind. It has been like a Wednesday. Like money is being deployed today, for sure. But it hasn't resulted in any kind of wild moves or anything. Which probably means there's really big players, but there's really big players on both sides. So there's another really large iceberg bid at 10. Yeah, so see here on Reddit, JD, I was told there would be no fact checking. They're trying to turn that into the big thing. And I'm kind of more stuck on, hey, it's because I have to watch it and see like how bad did he look when he said that? Or did he look strong when he said that? But I'm more stuck on the fact that the debate moderators were breaking promises that they made to the campaign. That's a big deal, in my opinion. I just read a thread on Reddit title that I'm like, I have thoughts on that, but now I'm like, nope, we're not going to talk about that. Not going to talk about that. Moving on. Wow, this guy says that he's been trading for 25 years. Well, there's nothing all that interesting in there. Yeah, so now people are like, do you offer services? Let's click on his name and see if he offers services. Author of Master the Art of Trading and Winning with Wall Street. Surprise, surprise. Who am I to say? I post on Reddit. I have a YouTube channel. Well, I'm kind of feeling like at the moment that they're just kind of gonna go back and forth in this, value area of the volume profile. Not do much of anything interesting. Yeah, stuck at VWAP. Stuck at the point of control. So that's, a little disappointing, but I'm gonna keep it on for funsies anyways. NVIDIA just dropped a bombshell. Its new AI model is open, massive, and ready to rival GPT-4. Yes, bro. Oh, you mean the highs? I mean, listen, you risked $10. You've made $20 almost. It's not bad. Except for that, risking $10 even on micro contracts is like, what is that? That's like $100, isn't it? No. It's 5 times 10. It's $50. For people that are trading micros, that's probably more risk that they want to take than they want to take. But that's again where I kind of say that, like, when you have a big enough wad that you can trade higher time frames and bigger moves, there's like better opportunities for you, really. That's why I'm constantly doing this thing where it's like, oh, I can see a chance of the flows flipping around here, like the treasuries moving up, and like another risk headline comes through, and those guys that came in and were buying, I want to believe that they were doing it for a reason. So if I can build a position here, where I've got a little bit of risk to work with, and then let it run. Biden expands refugee admission to foreign nationals from multiple continents. 30% of Pennsylvania hunters are not registered to vote? Well, Republicans should get on that. ABC News, why VP debates aren't all that important. Yeah, that means the Democrat lost for sure. Detecting some steepening in the curve. That could be good for, that could be, I don't think that the 10-year necessarily will move. Well, I mean, it will help the 10-year move a little bit more, but I think it kind of helps more for direction, that if we're steepening, we're more likely to be moving up. $5,000. You know what? I find the cumulative deltas in ES like really quite. I'm not able to watch it as much as I should, because like if I come in and there's like a 15,000 contract difference in the opening hour, that's like a relatively major. But then you'll get these moves that are like super extra insane too, where it's like hundreds of thousands of contracts. Because I would expect that the differences in cumulative delta to be much larger than the treasuries, and sometimes it's not. So I find using deltas over there in ES confusing. But that's where I honestly, I'm kind of question if it's really possible to read both treasury order flow and equity order flow at the same time. It seems to me that they are two fundamentally different, and that you're going to be good at one or the other, and that looking at the other one what may actually hinder your progress on the other. So like, just as an example, you come here and you look at this chart, right? So here's a move from negative 65 to 34. So that's about a 30,000 contract difference going into the close yesterday. And then we come into this and it's like maybe a 15,000 change. And I'm like, how is all of that just 15,000 contracts difference? I know. To be honest with you, in equities, I'm more interested in this sort of a thing. Oh, now wait, this is weird. What's with that? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's saying that there was strong, consistent trend in that area, and there's not. I don't know what to make of that. I may have the numbers a little bit too. Like, what if I went to a higher time frame on R squared here? Like let's say 20. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. I kind of pay attention to this a little bit more, to be honest with you. It's like, hey, there you go. There's a strong trend. And it gets up to there. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe I take a trade. It's a little bit too technical analysis-y that, like, if that's all you've got, then I you know, that's probably not going to win on its own. But can you post a live ZN chart with the cost basis? Oh, sure. Hey, I like that idea. I like that idea. Let's try and set up a system here. Like I should post it at a certain regular interval there or something like that. like maybe every 30 minutes, maybe? I don't know, but you know what? I drank a ton of water this morning trying to clear my sinuses, and like the water's going through me. So I'm going to take a break here and I'll be right back. You ever like you go to the bathroom and like it's free flowing and like lots is coming out, and then you're almost done, and then like for some reason all of a sudden like another flow comes through, and you were only halfway done. Oh man, that was a good pee. That was a good pee. Welcome to 40. I really wonder what causes that. It's like if the bladder just emptied itself, then where is the extra stuff coming from? Unless it's something like that while you were going to the bathroom, like more liquid filled back into the bladder for some reason. It's weird. Yeah, it's a meta order piss. Exactly. Ah, that's so funny. I mean, I can understand if you're 40 and you're getting like the enlarged prostate problems and things like that can kind of like block the flow. But like I'm saying, like it was like a good flow, and I just really needed to be. And I didn't miss anything. We're still right where we were. But maybe some opportunities to try another contract here at 10.5, but I don't think that this situation really calls for taking on the extra risk. So I'm just gonna try and let this run. I will if it comes back to 09. I might play it, but I'd have to be careful with that. Anyways, what were you thinking about? Like how often you would like to see that chart if you don't have the ability to see it in NinjaTrader? You know what I could do? What I could do is I could stream on Discord as well and just have the Discord always show the second screen. That could be interesting. And we could jump into voice. So if you want to talk, like we could do it as a stage. Actually, so let's play around with this a little bit. You know, this is the smaller Discord. We can mess with things. Let's come in here and where would we make it? We'll do it under main. Create channel. But this one will be a stage. We'll just call it stage. Don't need to add anybody. Still want it to be at the top of that list. How do I, come on. Oh, well, that's annoying. Does it have to be at the bottom, huh? Interesting. Okay, well, anyways. Topic, trading, start stage. Okay. Share your screen. And we want to see, no, we want to see screens. We want to see this screen right here. Better text readability. And we can nitro. Oh, the picture will be clear, but with a slow frame rate. Well, I think I'm okay with that. Let's just try it. Let's just try it. Okay. So, for those of you that are in the paid Discord, which is only $3 a month, by the way, and is linked in the video description, you can see my chart screen. So see if that works and how that looks and tell me. And you'll also be able to pop in there and, like, if you want to talk, you can pop in and you can talk. And that would be another nice thing about it. And there we go. There's Octavius. So I just say go right here. Allow requests from everyone. There we go. Yeah. So now you can send a request whenever you want, if you wanted to say something. Okay, well, oil has kind of been on the sell today, and there was some volatility around the EIA report, but it didn't look like it moved too much, and that kind of looks like that might want to start testing the downside there. The treasuries are in a pullback. Unclear to me if this trend is going to continue up or if that was as much as they can get, because it's been a really, really slow uptrend, hasn't it? Okay, now, so here's another thing, though, Octavius, is that, like, tomorrow I will almost certainly forget to do this. So remind me to start the stage so that you can see it. says okay in capital letters. Good deal. Now you're gonna have to have both open, because you want to have the YouTube open to see the DOM and Discord open to see the chart. So on that last down tick, I saw a little bit of a shift. So I kind of suspect there might be some market makers that are kind of willing to shift back and forth depending on which way it's going to go here. Come over here and make a little note for myself. Is it Bowman and Barker coming up? I thought that wasn't until after we were done. Oh, yeah. Bowman at the top of the hour. Yeah. Although I'm not too sure that if that one's going to be huge still or not. Actually, I checked on the earlier ones. I didn't check on those two. I didn't see them. Okay. Community Banking Research Conference. So Bowman might actually be something, huh? But was it yesterday? She just reused her last speech, so. Okay. Barkin, due to speak about the economy, audience questions expected. That one could be a big deal. So that one's worth paying attention, looking for. I tell you what, it's been really for the last 40 minutes super tight. Like that big set of orders that came out between 09 and 10.5 really screwed things up. I wonder what that was about. Was it just these guys over here drop in cumulative delta and then they puked when it like didn't keep going. Somebody trapped. I'm just thinking about the stage thing, if there's anything else we can do here. It looks good though. That was easy to set up. So I'm thinking about this chart. So I remember I came up here and I was like, you know, 8 isn't enough. But these are 5-minute bars. So 5 times 8 is 40 minute. So I had it set to be over 40-minute period. Is there a lot of autocorrelation? But really what we want is higher time frame than that. Like maybe really, really high time frame. Like, so let's experiment with this a little bit. I'm just going to leave the screens the way that they are right now for a second. Like, what if I put in 200? Is that too big? No, not bad, actually. It's interesting how we were in a pretty decent like trend here, and then that spike back down. What was the spike up? Was that Friday? I don't remember what happened. I kind of wonder if 200 is a bit too much. Let's try 100. I don't know. Too much noise in it. I think I'm just going to take it off of this chart because I have it on the smaller chart. And I like the way that it is on the smaller chart. So you have R squared over here on this 1 minute chart. That's good. And this one, we've got Alice and the Delta. So I think that that's all good. Would like to get the dollar over here, but I don't know where I would fit it. Your R squared still at 50. Well, so for my 1 minute chart, it is a 60-minute R squared. That's what I have it set to. Uh-oh, is my bid gonna get filled? This is like either really good or really bad. So I just took it off of the 5-minute chart because I felt like on the 5-minute chart it was too noisy. We're kind of coming into the end of the session, so I'm gonna leave it for now. But I'm kind of thinking tomorrow I might come in here and take a look at this and be like, okay. So the main things I got on here is ATR so that I can see it in terms of points and percent. And then I have 50, 100, 200 day moving averages, and I have the ATR stop. And then I'm thinking, oh, I should have ATR on this. Or not ATR, I should have R squared on this. Can you put the cost basis on the 2s? Okay. That's a good idea, actually. Let's do that. Sorry, which one is it? Inventory cost basis. Well, that is curious indeed. I have to say, though, it really seems to me like the 10-year responds to the cost basis the most. Like, most of the time, the ZN is the one that will come up right to the line, unless there's like considerable spreading going on. So like in this case, we're steepening, and so you're going to see the 2 and the 5 go a little bit through it, and you see the 10-year come right to it. And then if I put it on the 30, the 30-year would probably be a little bit behind. But theoretically, the more flow that there is in an instrument, the more useful those lines can potentially be. Because it's basically telling you like what the market makers are doing. Okay, there was the fill. Yeah, I want to see if you can use it for targets. Well, I don't know. In the 2 years today, it kind of seems like it was... You left about half on the table if you took it off at the cost basis in the 2 year. It's really frustrating to me to see this and be like, well, that doesn't look random to me. But like, how do I prove that it's not? And then once I've proven that it's not, how do you turn that into like a real strategy? Because it does seem to me like I think that most trades these days, I'm getting a little bit of flow my way, and that it's pretty rare that I will get like trade after trade where I'm not able to get anything to go my way, you know? But I still have problem getting the optimal exit. And the optimal exit is often like the difference between profit and loss. So I need to maybe do some more research on that. One thing I've thought about, because what I'll often see is like it'll come up and then I'll start to see the icebergs and stuff and I'll get it, you know, and like that's a spot where it will kind of stop. But sometimes, you know, it's a really strong flow, it'll just push right through that. And so I kind of like let it wait and see, but I'm kind of starting to wonder, oh man, what if I just always took it there? Like, let's get some base runs and see how well that works. Well, I bet you if I did that, I would probably feel pretty good about it because I would have decent winners all the time, but then the win rate would start to be the problem there then still. Because the problem this year has been the win rate. There's too many bad trades at the beginning of the year that were just outright wrong, incorrect. Okay, uptick. Low resting liquidity at 09.5, so. Let's recenter it there. I'm noticing that the Japanese yen has continued to fall here, despite the treasuries not really moving. So that's a little odd. I was lifting my eyebrow there, and was watching this TikTok where they were like, do these eye exercises. Like, hold your eyes like this and then blink, and that will exercise your eyes and make you have hunter eyes or something like that, right? And one of the things that they were talking about was like facial symmetry and everything. I was like, well, I can do this, but I can't really... Can't really do the left eyebrow very well for some reason. Is that just like the mind muscle connection I haven't developed? Am I too old to develop that now? Can you show the R squared? So, well, yeah. So D, I think you came in a little bit late, but we have a new Discord. We're going to keep the free Discord there, of course, but we have a paid Discord that's $3 a month. $3 because that's the cheapest that it will let us do. And if you're in that Discord, I am streaming the chart screen. I'm streaming the chart screen. So if you go into the Discord, you can just see what it is all the time. Yeah. But I think that you want to know, like, you know, what settings I'm using and whatnot, right? So this is what I've got, right? So I have R squared on there. It's a 1 minute chart. I'm using 60-minute time period, right? And I'm kind of looking for, you know, one, if it's crossing above, because it tends to oscillate, right? So like when it's starting right here. Do you see this? So let's zoom in here a little bit to show how you might want to use it. So we started to get some trend right here, right? So somewhere around here where it started to say, oh, we're moving down. And then that trend continued through, and then you can see where it kind of shifted. Now on this one, this move up here was way too fast. So it didn't start to get back into a good R squared value until way over here, right? But still, I find that from a technical analysis perspective, that R squared is like such a critical, like one of the things I think is there's all these people that are like, oh, I just look at the chart and I can tell the trend. And, you know, like the chart indicators are lagging and everything. And I kind of feel like that one of the things that they're looking at is like, how consistent is the trend and what the slope of it is. And you can measure those quantitatively. And for some reason, retail traders don't. So that's part of why I like R squared so much. That and every algorithm that I've ever back tested seemed to improve by including R squared into it. So. Here's a story of Republicans saying J.D. Vance reminds CBS moderators of debate rules after they try to fact, and all of the Republicans think that he like swiped the legs right out underneath of him and everything. So Republicans liked it. I don't know. Probably it doesn't matter, but I'm still super perturbed by this idea that like debate moderators are breaking the rules. Well, guys, I think that it's not gonna get there before we're done. This is basically time for me to get going. I don't have anything important scheduled today, but I'm gonna be doing some recording. So, yeah, gotta change the room up, and then we're gonna sit down and we're gonna record some stuff, I think. GG. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, if I took it off right here, I'd still made like what, 3 ticks or whatever. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let it run. Maybe it'll fill it later. Hopefully it doesn't, you know, just careen down from that point. But I'll let it go. And then I would still have a third contract on, I think, right? Let's see here. Yeah, I only got 2 on. So I'll just let the last one ride and try and ride it to the end of the session. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. Oh, well, they came up to it, but they didn't trade it. I will see you tomorrow, Thursday. In the meantime, stay excellent, team. Oh, and you know, before I go, I got to mention, look at all the things in the video description. If you're on NinjaTrader, check out my indicator suite. If you're not on NinjaTrader, check out the new paid Discord where I'm streaming the indicators over there. Okay, so, and it's only $3 a month because that's the cheapest Discord will let us make it. Stay excellent, team.